Good afternoon, everybody. It's the Ace of Trades. Had to start this video over. Had some just a couple issues with the video started this morning. But the Bible says in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 39, "Know therefore this day and consider it in thine heart, that the Lord He is God in heaven above and upon earth beneath, and there is none else." All right, so let me just go through the chart as I would have this morning. Okay, so, coming in about 9 o'clock, you got these two legs down, and then we pushed up. I probably had this drawn as like one leg here, and then I had another leg, and then this turned into, you could see it turned into a channel. So then what I did is I drew this. I don't like anything here, just kind of real choppy and stacked. So there's nothing there. And just spoiler alert, there's not a whole lot here all day, in my opinion. There's a lower high here, but I don't like, let's pull this off for now because we don't know that's there yet. You're getting close to the EMA, and it just seems very bullish, so I don't like going short and beside all these bars here. It does work for a little bit, and now we keep pushing up. And then at this point, when you get this big push down, I was talking about looking for maybe a retest of this downtrend, but you don't get anything. Kind of chops around here at the EMA and just pushes higher. And then that's it. At that point, I saw this, and I put this on here and said, maybe there's a wider channel moving up that you want to keep an eye on. It doesn't fit real good off the top, except here it starts to. But it's very, there's a lot of gaps here. It's not a nice tight trend like the smaller trends that you find like this. It's very gappy. So it's more of like a point of reference rather than something you would trade off of. I don't think you want to trade off of a super big chart like that, because any kind of small movement in the anchor point, like you can get anchor points to touch and um, still look like they're touching and then be way off further up the channel. So that's why I don't like those. And then we pushed up here. Basically, it's kind of like, it's hard. This is hard to discern because there's like a second smaller leg, then a third leg. And I was saying here, if you got, with how bullish this is, if you got two clean legs and a decent signal bar below the EMA there, you could, that's not a terrible trade to take for a long, but this first leg here is very choppy, and so I don't really even recognize it as two legs until it takes off, and then you can kind of see it. But that's the difference between real time and after the fact. Had it been like two clean legs, you can see that much easier in real time. Then we just get kind of choppy here, go sideways. There's nothing to do here. Just make this a little bit bigger. Push out, push back down. You can't really take any of this because it's so bullish. You'd be worried about, price bouncing off this area here and continuing to go. I don't like shorting into the EMA or into the top of this, what looks like a range. Then you get this push down, and it just doesn't look like, you can see how this started very like small, and then the bars just get bigger and bigger and bigger. This doesn't really look like a trend to me. It looks more like maybe like somebody taking profit or something like that. It's just, you have to keep in mind that this bigger structure could be in play. So just a minute, I got an interruption here. I'll be right back. Okay, so what you get this push down, and I'm kind of concerned about taking a two-legged correction because of this uptrend being in play and it being very bullish all day. And this looks more like an impulse move rather than a decisive trend that's pushing down. Kind of like this looks more like a trend to me than this. And so then you get this big bullish bar here. So what main thing I'm concerned about here is this uptrend, this just being like a break and this uptrend retesting. So I don't even really get any good setups here that might trap the person, but it does push down and then it goes sideways a little bit, pushes up sideways again, and then so basically you get two legs down to a new low here. One, two, and then it takes off. So it looks like this uptrend is trying to retest. Um, it's probably okay to go for longs now off this push up. Oh, where's that at? There it is. So, I'd be looking at something like that. If it gives you something clean, it just hasn't typically been doing that. It's been, doing this push up and then push up. So you might get like one leg back and then it pushes up again. It's not been super cooperative. Um, Other than this, if it would have, um, given you two clean legs there. Um, but yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at so far today. And yeah, kind of went over everything I did, I think, in the earlier video. But yep, just kind of a lower volume, bullish day again. But even if this thing with this big trend retesting, this may just want to keep going up. It just has that feel to it today. But sometimes we're wrong, and so you just want to watch, okay? Because this is a retest channel for this bigger trend. But if you got two clean legs off this, I'd be okay with taking this channel, taking like a two-legged correction off this trend, because everything, even with this bigger trend being played out, it is a bigger context. Everything smaller is played out to the downside. So I would still expect a channel like this to retest. So, but yeah. So anyway, that's all I got for now. All right, I'm not really sure I care for what this looks like. I mean, obviously this looks like one leg, one push up. And then looks like we might be getting a second leg. If we make a clean measured leg down here or something near that and you get a nice strong signal bar, I may still take that. But I don't really care for how spread out this is right now. So I haven't really decided what I want to do. But if this would bounce here at the EMA, that's something I'm definitely not taking. And if it makes a new high, so be it. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking about right now. All right, I'm not going to enter on this doji. It just this looks pretty weak here. This may go up. I mean, this push down made a new low, but this just looks very sideways here, so I'm not entering on that. I don't care for that. But yep, that's all I got for now. All right, so this little like correction here kind of reminds me of the first one I lost on last week, where you had like a strong trend and it like made a new high or was like right into the previous highs. So maybe that's what you're getting here, accompanied with that's why when I was looking for a correction here to get a new high, it had to be a real good setup. And this is very weak because I was still aware that this big uptrend has made a new high, and that you're also into new highs on the trend itself. But if it gave you a good setup, I would take it. But this little weak stuff here, um, I'm not going to take that. Let me show you that other trade. It kind of like it's the same kind of like correction where you get like one leg down and then the second leg ends up in like a couple bunch of uh I had like a few doji bull candles. Let me just bring that up a second. Right, so here's that trade from the other week where you had a high here. It had a very pretty, I mean, it bounced off the overnight high, had a strong trend up. You even kind of get, this bar on the other setup, kind of similar. We get um, a like a bearish. The other one's a little stronger, but you can see that there's selling coming in here, and then you get one leg, two legs, and it's very weak there with the doji, another doji, bullish, another bullish doji, another. So it starts going sideways here, very weak, and then it fails. So that's kind of how this one looks today. Strong uptrend. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you'd look at this whole structure here as maybe this is like a shallow trend that makes a new high. I don't know. Um, but anyway, you can see how that's kind of similar. You get this just strong, steep push up into highs, and then you get a push down. It's not exactly the same, but the way that the second leg behaves kind of is very similar. And of course, this is failing now. I mean, if you had, depending on what your target was, if you went for something there, you would have scraped out of it, but that's not guaranteed that's going to happen. Um, and you never know. This might make like a second measured leg down. This leg may play out here, and then it may take off higher. But it's just now that it's super spread out, it's getting difficult to read it. So I probably won't do anything. All right, so this downtrend now definitely looks to me like it's in play. I think the bigger context here is that if we zoom out, is that this uptrend had a break. The move down ended up playing out, and then it pushed to a new high. And so with this uptrend being played out, pushed to a new high, and then this failing down, I think we can look for an opportunity for a short. We just want to be careful about this area here because we can see prices bounce there before. So, hopefully this doesn't just push down here and then start bouncing here because then you have to think about, would I get trapped on a pattern short into what might turn out to be like a, triple test of this level in a big picture and then it pushes higher. So preferably what you like to see is that you get a correction before that happens and then it comes down to test it, or just punches straight through and then maybe you get a test from underneath. You don't want to see this push down here and then start bouncing off that level. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at right now. Okay, it looks like this downtrend's it's a little quirky. Just had to draw it off I drew it off the lows. When you draw it off the highs, if you start dragging it this way a little bit, then the bottom overshoots, but it's steep enough to me that it doesn't seem like there's like really an overshoot there. Usually an overshoot you'll get something like this, where you get this waterfall of big candles down. And this kind of still seems like it's, behaving normally. This is a little weird here how I wasn't really sure what it was going to do here because you have this kind of weird break. It pushes down. You get a couple of these big candles here. But this looks like this is going to, and I thought maybe this is just going to shoot back up here, but it looks like it ran into some resistance here around this support and the EMA. So maybe we're going to push down. Now, whether you get some sort of setup to go with it, I don't know if you will or not. So we'll just wait and see what happens. All right, unfortunately, this downtrend just breaks and you get no clear points of entry. Down pushes to a new low. So now we're just waiting for something else to show up. Okay, everybody, gonna wrap it up for today. We ended up getting this downtrend, just no way to get into that. I think that's that's a little bit early. This could just keep pushing down here. So I think that's just too early to buy that bar there. Chop around, push up, push down a couple legs. Looks like we kind of triple tested this level. So we'll see if prices end up pushing up out of here. I'm going to wrap the video up. There's only 10 minutes to go in the day, so chances are nothing's going to show up in that period of time. But this has tried to push down here several times. The overall market structure is generally bullish today, so I wouldn't be surprised if this started trying to head up higher, or anything's possible. Maybe just chops around here to the end of the day. But this looks like this is trying to push down and hold in this level. So, if this pushed up here in a strong trend, I think you'd be okay looking for some sort of, long off that. I really don't see anything here, all day today. You can see, if we zoom out, it's the overall structure. So, yep, you get those kinds of days. So, yep, I'll be back again tomorrow. I'll see you then.